Drama in Saitama Part 2 is locked in for June 7th. That's all good. It's going to prove who is the best bantamweight in the world. And yet, it's something of a bit of a retread. We had this fight in late 2019. And yes, it was the fight of 2019. It was tremendous. The young gunslinger against the wily old veteran. But because of what COVID did to Inoue's career, really ravished it. In a bad way. Stopped him having that unification with Casemiro, which was locked in for 2020 April. Never got rescheduled. And the bantamweight division has been struggling for traction. And normally the charm with the lower weights is everything's easy. These guys don't get paid as much, so they have to fast forward their careers. Now, in fairness, old Donaire has proven his worth. He has fought his way back in, he has picked up that belt, oldest ever bantamweight champion. And you would be silly to think he doesn't pose a threat, even now, against the monster. He is somehow stabilised at 118 pounds and is still very, very potent. There's just that bitter aftertaste. Because of how highly I think of Inoue, the pound-for-pound trajectory I had him on, I could have seen him just leapfrogging everybody. There hasn't been anybody as dominant as this guy. He is boxing's hitman and boxing's body snatcher rolled into one, who just happens to be a tremendous boxer as well. But next year, because we've wasted some prime years, he is already going to be 30. Though, of course, you could just easily say, well, look, we know time's gone by. We can't do anything about it. Why don't we just focus on the bright side of life? Nonito Donaire certainly seems to do just that. The 39-year-old has still this exuberance of youth. He is still this commanding presence in the ring. And not just because of this size advantage. He is taking his time. He is drawing from his considerable experience. Kind of like Costa Tszyu did, the very good, excellent light welterweight when he was in his mid-30s. He said he's more patient. He's looking for the smart shots. And that is what Donaire is doing now. He is waiting for these younger guys to show the moves, show the patterns. And then I'll just start picking you off. And of course, it's not just to the head with Donaire. As we saw in his last fight with Raymart Gaballo, he has just as deadly a left hook to the body as Inoue does. But if things do start to go a little bit pear-shaped, if he does get floored early, if he does get shaken, this 39-year-old is not just going to panic. He has an incredible reserve, a willingness to dig deep that you won't see in the vast majority of 39-year-olds. At an age, of course, where most boxers, sane guys, are retired, enjoying their spoils, preserving brain cells. Donaire really wants this. He fights with the eagerness of a 21-year-old. So while I don't fully buy into that rhetoric you get that, oh, I feel the same as I did when I was 21, he honestly still seems to fight with that same desire, that willingness to win. And he will be looking for those smart shots, the kind of one that cracked Inoue's cheekbone in the first fight. People who were late to the Inoue party were saying, well, look, his best win is against an old Donaire. But look where that Donaire has got himself now, in the same position. So we can look back at that win now by Inoue and confirm it was a good win. Some people try to make comparisons with Canelo's over Kovalev's, but no way. Kovalev was an alcohol-ridden shell of himself. Donaire is a guy who naturally doesn't have the spring he used to, but is still completely more potent than Kovalev was. And I think that is going to be one of the factors, along with Inoue having got his cheekbone cracked in the first fight, that will make him approach this fight with a little bit more patience. In the first fight against Donaire, there was still that expectation for the monster to eat up his prey in a few rounds. He's going to take it a bit easier this time. He's going to work more off the jab. And Donaire isn't going to press with the same reckless abandon that he did against the likes of Abali and Gabayo. I'm not saying that he didn't go in there with some technique and patience, he did. But he just simply cannot press Inoue the same. He knows he can't. Because Inoue is too accurate and he's too powerful. And is it just me, or does Inoue seem to be a little bit thicker now at 118 pounds? Perhaps a little bit more man strength. I think he is going to be patient behind the jab. Look for the smart shots. And look to slow roast Donaire a little bit before he opens up. Because there were moments in that first fight where I think the injury made Inoue force his work a little bit. Sure, there was a little bit of internal panic. He wanted to get Donaire out of there. And it led to some kind of raggedy two-handed attacks, not the usual well-balanced, clinical type of way he goes about his work. I think in this scenario, he's not going to be injured. He's not going to be rushed. Everything is going to work off the jab. And with the superior footwork, not unlike Shakur Stevenson just did to Oscar Valdez, he'll keep taking little steps back, making Donaire overreach, and then sinking in those wicked body shots. The body shots that keep stopping opponents. I don't think it's going to be as good as the first fight. I think Inoue is going to win without too much bother in about round 8.